Hey yo, what is up, guys? Your boy is back, and today I'm talking about Extreme Rules 2013 Lesnar versus Triple H Trilogy. Let's get into it. So, I'm not going to be reviewing every match on the show, just the matches that I was gonna watch. You know what I'm saying, dog? So let's talk about the show here because it's been about 10 years since this show. I remember watching it when I got back home after a vacation, and yeah, I think I was out for it. So yeah, let's talk about this. So I was looking through the matches, and then surprisingly, Chris Jericho and Fandango had a rematch, and this time Chris Jericho won the rematch. And I think I actually liked their match at WrestleMania a little bit better than this. It started slow, but it like picked up towards the middle. Fandango, he had a really awesome. He went for a leg drop and he missed, and then Chris Jericho he hit a lion salt on him, and that was a really awesome near fall. And obviously, it just kind of ended with Chris Jericho hitting a code breaker off from Fandango jumping off the top rope. And yeah, not a whole lot to say about this match. It was just kind of a decent undercard match at best. Nothing to really say about it. It's weird that I'm even talking about it, and I don't even think anyone even remembers this match even happened. I didn't even remember this match even happened. Uh, Moving on. So this was kind of the show that defined the Shield. Not necessarily defined the Shield, but like really put them where this is the show where they put all the belts on them, essentially, is what I'm saying. So yeah, Dean Ambrose versus, man, weird calling him that. Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston for the United States Championship, and this is the match that kicked off Dean Ambrose's like something like 360-day reign. What was it? It was like something like a 300-day reign he had as United States Champion that he never really defended all that much. But yeah, this was a really good match. Dean Ambrose is really athletic, and I don't think people really realize that. Like the roll ups and like the counters these two guys were doing. Like Kofi Kingston, he's obviously really athletic, so no surprise there. So this was a really interesting match to watch. Kofi Kingston, he got hit with an awesome super butterfly suplex off the top rope from Dean Ambrose, and that looked really sick. And then Kofi, he hits a Trouble in Paradise on Dean Ambrose, who it just looked amazing, and I'd really like recommend watching this match. Like this is a really good match, and I don't think people would be really surprised by that. I thought this was an excellent match here. And yeah, he hits a Trouble in Paradise to Dean Ambrose on the outside, but he goes out and he grabs him, and everyone starts calling him sorry guys, forgive me. Dean Ambrose, Kofi Kingston, an idiot for going out when he could have just gotten the 10 count because Ambrose is essentially knocked out on the outside. Anyways, so Ambrose essentially hits what's called the Rose Plant. Nowadays, Bailey uses it, but I think back then they still called it the Dirty Deeds. It's just the front face lock DDT. And yeah, it looked really good, and he does it way better than Bailey does. No disrespect to Bailey, but anyways, good match here. Ambrose picks up the championship. Next up, we have one of the strangest ends to a match in WWE history, and that's Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger in a number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship against Dolph Ziggler. And yeah, so this match here, Del Rio got like suplexed right on the outside in the first 30 seconds of this match, and I was like, damn, son, right off the bat. Yeah, they used the kendo sticks a lot throughout this match. They really beat each other up with that. It was an I quit match, so they're constantly asking, like, do you quit? Do you quit? So yeah, this match here, it wasn't actually like a great match or a bad match. It just was kind of decent. So there was the strange part of the match is where I believe Swagger he had Del Rio in the ankle lock, and then Ricardo Rodriguez was going to throw in the towel, but then Zed Coulter picked up the towel and threw it in, and they all thought it was Ricardo Rodriguez, and then they had like the referee look at the tape on a TV in the back, and it's like, do you know how many times stuff happens in WWE where it's like you could probably go to a TV and restart the match? Like, look at WrestleMania 39 with that strange ass finish with the Samoan Spike to Cody Rhodes, where Solo Sikoa was ejected from ringside and then he came back out, and it's like, yeah, I guess Adam Pearce was taking a nap in the biggest match of the year, and yeah, so this is a match where they could have used instant replay and restarted the match. whatever. You see, this is why this is kind of dumb. Anyway, so they have a pretty cool ending here where Del Rio ends up with, I think he counters the ankle lock and he gets Swagger in the armbar and he picks up the win. There's also like a really cool moment where like Swagger like goes to like power bomb Del Rio and Del Rio counters that, the cross arm breaker. So yeah, there was like a lot of really cool counters throughout this, but yeah. Next up is Team Hell No versus The Shield in a tornado tag match. And I can't even remember the last time I remember, like, I guess all matches kind of become tornado tag matches. I shouldn't really say that. But yeah, this was, it was kind of interesting watching how they did this, where they were both trying to, like, both teams were trying to, like, beat down the other team, but then play defense to get like a pin. So they'd hit a move and then they try to come up with like creative ways to keep the other person out of the ring, where like Kane's trying to like keep Seth Rollins on the outside, and yeah, and vice versa, where they're like putting each other in holds and stuff. And yeah, it was a good game of keep away and solid defense here. So it was really interesting to watch from that perspective. Yeah, so there was a lot of close near falls in this, and yeah, like there was a lot of times where you thought the match would end, but then it didn't. I think where Kane, he had a choke slam, and Roman Reigns got a spear on Kane, and Daniel Bryan had Roman Reigns in the no lock, I think is what he was calling it at the time. But then Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns pick up Daniel Bryan up on the shoulders, and then there's like a flying knee to the face of Daniel Bryan, and that got the win. And the crowd didn't really react because I don't think anyone really saw that as the end. But hey, you never know, and that's what's cool about this. So yeah. So weirdly enough, this match, so I didn't really mention this about the show. This show took place in St. Louis, and as you know, Randy Orton's from St. Louis. So he got a huge reaction here on the show, and he was wrestling the Big Show. And yeah, I really like this match, and this match is actually very, very significant. I know what you're all thinking, like, why is this match so significant? Because it's the match where Randy Orton brought back the punt. The punt was a banned move in WWE for a very, very long time, and this is what this match is remembered for, is bringing back the punt, and it lives on because of that. It's like, oh, I remember this. Randy Orton brings back the punt this match because he wasn't using it forever, and there's a lot of talk about when he'd bring it back. So yeah. This was a really good match here. I remember I had an argument with my friend about this match because he just wanted to like he just wanted to be like, I just want to have my, it's not like, it's fine that it was his opinion, but it was like, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really good match. And then he just like craps all over just because that's kind of how he was. But this match here, awesome. I really, really liked it. There wasn't much wrong with it. It was a good big man versus little man atmosphere to it, where Randy Orton had to kind of figure out the Big Show and figure out his way to get offense in on him. And yeah, and the Big Show just kind of powering around Randy Orton here. So it was a really good match, and I really liked it, with Big Show trying to hit the splash onto Orton on the ladder, but Orton moves, and that was a really cool moment. And Randy Orton hitting 2 RKOs before Big Show hit him with like a giant choke slam off the top rope, and that was cool. So there was a lot of just cool moments in this match. And yeah, I really like the giant versus slicker, smaller guy attitude. Not like the Rey Mysterio matches, but like this. It's kind of interesting because about the next pay-per-view I'm talking about a Rey Mysterio Big Show match. But hey, we're talking about this right now. But yeah, Randy Orton can't get finished with the RKO, so he lines him up for the punt, baby. And 1, 2, 3 after he hits it, bam, Randy Orton's your winner. So yeah, I love this match. I really like it. So yeah. And I know a lot of people at the time really liked this match, so it was a really praised match. Next up, John Cena versus Ryback. Sorry. So the Ryback was kind of a big deal at the time. I didn't talk about him during my WrestleMania 29 review, but I'll talk about him more upcoming here. So this Ryback was a big deal at the time. He was a lot like Goldberg. He wore RVD's tights, which is interesting, being that both these people all came back in the later that year and a couple years after. So anyways, they hit a lot of power moves in this match. Like obviously Ryback hit some really awesome power moves where he did a tilt-a-whirl power slam to Cena, and that looked so sick when he got him up for that. And yeah, it was pretty much Cena was selling the ankle for a lot of this, and because he got hurt in the lead up to this match, I guess. I'd have to go back and watch a lot of that stuff. But yeah, so Cena gets hurt, and yeah, Ryback attacks the ankle. He hits a lot of power moves that look awesome. He hits a mean-ass suplex. I'll give him that. That's not a suplex, a clothesline. His clothesline is amazing. That meat hook clothesline looks so sick. He throws Cena through the tables. I think, yeah, John Cena hit an FU or an AA to Ryback on the tables, and that looked awesome. They end up brawling out to the crowd after I think Cena tackles him through the barricade, and then they brawl out there. Cena hits him with a fire extinguisher. Ultimately, Ryback picks him up and slams him through the Titantron, and that's the end of it because it was a last man standing match. And yeah, the ref counted to 10. Both guys couldn't get back up. So yeah, this leads to Payback, which we'll be talking about in June, I believe. We'll probably covering that pay-per-view then. So yeah. Now, the last match we're going to talk about here is, it's funny that I've actually covered all of these matches, and at the time, this was like such a, like, it seemed like a lot of fans were really lukewarm on this feud, and I myself, it's like, I think I really like the WrestleMania match, but I don't remember, like, the SummerSlam match, it goes either way. Sometimes I watch it and I like it, sometimes I watch it and I don't like it as much. All in all, it was a decent to good match is what we'll say about the SummerSlam match. But here, I think this might have been their best match. This was a really, really physical cage match. Like, both guys, they look like absolute killers. Like, they're just in great shape. Triple H attacking Brock Lesnar at the start of the match, sending him into the cage. And that's what I loved about this. They really used the cage early in this. And they were just slamming each other into it. And it just looked brutal. And Brock's flying around the ring, getting thrown into the cage. And Triple H, he dominated Lesnar a lot of this match. Like, it was kind of like after the initial attack, Brock took over, suplexed Triple H a bit, threw him around, and then eventually, like, Triple H just dominated. He got him in the figure four, he hit him around with a chair, slammed him into the cage a couple more times, hit a suplex, hit the spine buster on him. Like, this was a physical ass match. Like, Triple H was just whooping on Lesnar here. Like, Lesnar's screaming at Triple H to, like, he's like, stop, he's hurt, and Lesnar's jumping around on one leg. And yeah, this is a really, really good match, and I don't think this got the praise it deserved at the time, but I really like this match. Like, just two big dudes just beating the brakes off each other, slamming each other in the cage, hitting spine busters, suplexes. Triple H hits the pedigree. Brock hits a really nice F5 in this too. Paul Heyman, he hits, like, Triple H. Oh, this is the one where he hid the sledgehammer at, like, the top of the cage and he comes down with it. That was really cool. Lesnar ends up getting the sledgehammer, nails Triple H with it, hits him with the F5 after the Heyman low blow, and Brock's like, thanks, Paul, it's what I pay him for. And then he hits Triple H, and yeah, Brock wins the trilogy, and yeah, in terms of wrestling, like, this wasn't bad. This was like, it was actually, no, like, the trilogy itself, it's like, I just remember at the time, like, people were not really into this, but now it's like, it's so refreshing to watch two dudes who are actually, like, look like they could kill people. Like, they look like they're out there in the battlefield just slaying through people. And it's like, it's really refreshing to see, like, the old school kind of 80s look to the wrestlers still kind of around. So that I really liked about it too, just the overall aesthetic of the match too, and the use of the cage and the physicality of the moves, and it just, yeah, everything kind of mattered in this match, and I really, really enjoyed this match. And overall, I'd say this was a really good showing from WWE. I mean, not like, I'd say the pay-per-view itself could be kind of seen as underwhelming. Like, there was no, like, truly great match on the undercard outside of the Orton and Big Show match, and the Ryback Cena match was pretty good. But overall, the main event really delivered, in my opinion, and everything else was pretty decent. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the show, like, or like a lot of the matches I watched here. So yeah, Extreme Rules 2013. It gets a thumbs up for me. I thought this was really good stuff, and yeah, I'm looking forward to watching more stuff from 2013 here. So stay tuned from that. But the next video, we're going back to 2003. So stay tuned.